October 25th, 1999. A Learjet 35 carrying professional golfer Payne Stewart and 5 others takes off from Orlando, Florida. The jet climbs normally, but within minutes, radio contact is lost. Fighter jets are scrambled to intercept, and what they see is chilling. The windows of the Learjet are frosted, the cockpit unresponsive, and the jet is flying on autopilot with no sign of life inside. Hours later, the aircraft runs out of fuel and crashes into a field in South Dakota. Everyone on board is gone. This is the story of Payne Stewart's final flight. What went wrong, why the crew and passengers never stood a chance, and the lessons this tragedy left behind for aviation. Payne Stewart, a legend in golf. Payne Stewart was more than just a professional golfer, known for his trademark knickers, flat cap, and colorful personality. He was one of the most beloved figures on the PGA Tour. By 1999, Stewart was a 3-time major champion and had just won the US Open in dramatic fashion. He was at the height of his career, respected not just for his talent, but also for his sportsmanship and charisma. That made the events of October 25th all the more shocking for the sports world. The aircraft, Learjet 35. The plane involved was a Learjet 35, a small but powerful twin-engine business jet. It was a popular choice among executives, athletes, and entertainers because of its speed and range. The jet that carried Stewart was registered to Sunjet Aviation. On this day, the aircraft was scheduled to fly from Orlando, Florida to Dallas, Texas, where Stewart was headed for a business meeting. On board were 2 pilots, Payne Stewart, his agents Robert Fraley and Van Arden, and golf course architect Bruce Borland. The takeoff. At 9:19 a.m. Eastern Time, the Learjet took off from Orlando. Weather was clear. Within minutes, the aircraft reached 23,000 feet. At first, everything appeared normal, but at 9:33 a.m., air traffic controllers noticed the jet did not respond to routine instructions. They tried multiple times to contact the pilots. Silence. No mayday call, no sign of trouble. Just silence. Minutes later, controllers cleared nearby traffic and began to monitor the Learjet closely. The aircraft continued climbing to 39,000 feet. Its cruising altitude, but it was flying on autopilot, unresponsive. Interception. When a passenger jet or business jet goes silent, the military steps in. At 9:54 a.m., 2 F-16 fighter jets intercepted the Learjet over Mississippi. What they saw was haunting. The jet was flying smoothly, but the cockpit windows appeared frosted or opaque, a sign of depressurization and freezing temperatures inside. No movement could be seen in the cockpit. The pilots and passengers were almost certainly incapacitated. The F-16s continued to trail the Learjet for over an hour. It flew steadily northwest, across the Midwest, until it eventually began descending, not because of pilot action, but because it ran out of fuel. The crash. At approximately 12:13 p.m. Central Time, the Learjet entered a spiral dive near Aberdeen, South Dakota. The aircraft hit an open field at nearly supersonic speed, creating a massive crater. All 6 people on board were killed instantly. The crash site was so violent that investigators had to rely on radar data, maintenance records, and wreckage analysis to piece together what happened. The investigation. The National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, launched a full investigation. The probable cause? Loss of cabin pressure leading to crew incapacitation. At high altitudes, if the cabin loses pressurization, oxygen levels drop within seconds. Without supplemental oxygen, passengers and crew quickly lose consciousness, a condition called hypoxia. In this case, investigators concluded that a pressurization failure or malfunction likely occurred shortly after takeoff. The pilots would have had just 30 to 60 seconds to put on their oxygen masks, and take corrective action. For reasons never fully determined, they did not. Once unconscious, there was no chance of recovery. The plane flew on autopilot until it ran out of fuel. The mystery of cabin depressurization. One of the most frightening aspects of this crash is how silent and invisible cabin depressurization can be. There was no radio distress call, no sign of struggle. The pilots likely felt fine one moment and were unconscious the next. Hypoxia symptoms include dizziness, confusion, and impaired judgment. Without immediate oxygen, people can pass out before realizing what's happening. At 39,000 feet, time of useful consciousness is often less than 1 minute. This is why commercial airlines and business jets have strict procedures. Pilots are trained to put on oxygen masks first, then troubleshoot the problem. But in this case, whether due to distraction, malfunction, or human error, that critical step wasn't taken in time. Public reaction. News of the crash stunned the sports world and the public. Payne Stewart was only 42 years old. Just months earlier, he had sunk an unforgettable putt to win the US Open. His sudden death, in such a bizarre and tragic way, left fans and fellow golfers devastated. The PGA Tour honored him with moments of silence, tributes, and special tournaments. Beyond sports, the story captivated the nation because of its eerie details. A ghost plane flying across the skies, pursued by fighter jets, with no one alive at the controls. Aviation lessons from Payne Stewart's crash. This accident has become a case study in aviation safety. The lessons are sobering. 1. Pressurization. Failures can be deadly. Even small leaks or malfunctions at high altitude can lead to hypoxia. Pilots must always be ready to don oxygen masks immediately. 2. Oxygen masks. First, always. In emergencies, pilots are trained to secure oxygen before diagnosing the problem. Delay, even by seconds, can cost lives. 3. Time of useful consciousness is short. At cruising altitude, the window for action is less than a minute. Training and muscle memory are critical. 4. Autopilot cannot save lives alone. The Learjet flew perfectly for hours, but without conscious pilots, it was doomed. Automation can maintain flight but not handle emergencies. 5. Maintenance and inspections are vital. While the exact cause of depressurization wasn't pinpointed, proper system checks and awareness of potential issues are crucial for all operators. 6. The human factor matters most. No matter how advanced the aircraft, human awareness and response are the final safeguards. The legacy. Payne Stewart's crash remains one of the most haunting aviation tragedies of the 1990s. It highlighted the silent danger of hypoxia and the importance of emergency training. For pilots, the case is a constant reminder. Never take oxygen systems for granted. Always be prepared for the unexpected at altitude. For the public, the story is remembered both for its eerie unfolding, a jet flying for hours without a living pilot, and for the loss of a beloved sports figure in his prime. The Learjet 35 crash that claimed Payne Stewart's life was more than an accident. It was a chilling demonstration of how quickly things can go wrong in aviation and how vital quick thinking and training are when lives are on the line. Payne Stewart will always be remembered as a champion golfer, but in aviation, his final flight continues to serve as a lesson for every pilot. Oxygen first, always be ready, and never underestimate the speed of hypoxia. What do you think was the most surprising part of Payne Stewart's final flight? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want more real-life aviation stories and the lessons they teach, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Stay safe, fly smart, and remember, the sky is unforgiving, but with discipline and respect, it can also be safe.